Move on to number 5. Next Tri-City Planning Committee scheduled for 12/1/2010 at City of Rushford Village Hall. See attached email detailing possible areas of discussion. Any comment? You'll be able to get to that one, Mark?
I'll have to change my, get some of that both on there or something.
Okay. Cool. Let's move on to number 6, update on the Rush Pine Watershed Alliance initiatives. Councilmember Bunkie may care to provide input on progress and plans with Winona and their partners. You were at the meeting, Vern?
I was. And I'm glad I took notes on this pad. So that I could read them.
Did you wish you could read them?
Yeah. Winona County, through their Soil and Water Conservation District, has been able to obtain some grant funds to pay for a full-time coordinator for this Rush Pine Watershed project, is what they're referring to it. Myron also attended the meeting. I don't know if what, if anything, he was going to include for public consumption in his newspaper. But one thing that they did ask is that they're at the point where they need public awareness of this project, and while most of the work that would go into this project is going to happen in Winona County, water retention dams, stream bank improvement, easement, and stream bank stabilization. Most of that stuff is going to happen in Winona County, and so it makes sense that they be the manager of the funds. That doesn't mean that Fillmore County or Houston County can't take part in that and get some funding from it for their waterways, but the reason why it's so important that Rushford cooperates with this public information portion is because we're the cork in this whole thing. All the water that lands in that watershed runs through here, and that's our important stake in this whole issue. So public awareness is huge. We need to be supportive of their efforts as a community, because we're a large number of heads into the federal government, to the state government, when they start doling out these grant funds. So they encouraged us to consider passing a resolution of support for this very informal process right now, which is, for the most part, education right now.
What, if any, with minimum tillage and contour strips, how many, or how much input is going to be from the farmers up in the creek area?
Significant.
Good.
Significant. They're the ones that own the land. So there will be a lot of, like I said, a lot of education and a lot of persuading, maybe, to have people change some of their practices and consider more grasslands, more pasture land. There may be funds available to rehab or build more retention systems, but like I said, this, right now, this is all in the formative stage, but it's at the stage where they really need to have more public awareness. So, if we could entertain that as a council at the next council meeting, passing a resolution of support for this Rush Pine Creek watershed project. The DNR wants to get involved in recreational, increasing the amount of really top-notch trout habitat as they accomplish these changes. So this is all part and parcel of it. Anyway, I can get Kathy more information if she wants it, but hopefully based on that we can put together a decent resolution and show our support as a city.
Sounds good. Let's move on to number 7, update on the branding committee meeting held 11/18/2010. Council members who may have attended may care to provide input on the progress and plans of this committee. This has been started by Rushford Area Chamber of Commerce. I was in attendance. Robert was there, and Mr. Klunkfit was there also at the branding committee meeting. Kevin, would you care to comment on this at all?
Well,
It was very preliminary.
it's my feeling that we need to get moving on this to get a cohesive brand. So, for instance, next spring when the trail opens up, somebody comes to town, they know where to go eat meat. They know what things are available to them. And that to me is the heart of the matter to begin with. For instance, when you go into one of the fine establishments in town, you ought to be able to, and somebody says, well, where can I eat, or what's there to do? They're better than they are. Oh, I don't know. We need to be cohesive. In order to make the community function properly, we need to be a cohesive community where everybody knows what the hell's going on. And if we don't have that minimum requirement, I can't see how people coming to town would want to stay and do things or would want to come back. So that's a critical factor.
Exactly. Any thoughts, Robert?
No, nothing other than that, but I agree.
Exactly. Kevin,
I make one more statement if I could.
please do.
We should take everything that's being done in the town and list them all out and start looking for some patterns in that, like we were talking about. Well, if you want to do arts and you want to do historical, we're talking about maybe there's an Indian project, talk about the history of the Indians and the art crafts and stuff. There's lines you can connect organizations with to take advantage of everybody's strengths and leave nobody out.
Excellent.
Is that going to be a function of the branding committee? Will they do that? Will the chamber lead that effort?
I can't speak for the whole thing, but I would suspect that's what we need to do. It's more personal opinion. They'll make the final formulation.
All right, let's move